Yeah, well, we are already into the picks and bans of game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off that second match in the quarterfinals between these two teams, and two bans going down pretty quickly from both
teams doing their homework. I mean, this is Clockwork, probably the most impact hero for EG. Universe had been 6-2 on that hero in 6.84. It's their most picked hero as a team, and then Tusk, of course, which we already talked about, just dominating the Mars TV tournament, coming out as a ban from EG.
I do think though Tusk, like, we forgot about it in the previous years. I feel like not every team is that experienced with picking that hero up in the very first stage of the game.
But Vici is. Vici is played. I mean, the teams that you look at are Vici Gaming and Empire when you talk about Tusk. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what we saw in that first match. Maybe you just didn't expect it as much. It fell through the crack for us. It fell through the crack for both teams in that very first match. But here against Vici, I mean,
Undying and Leshrac, and I think those are two very important heroes that have skipped by.
Wisp as well.
I would say even more than Queen of Pain. And yeah, Wisp, I think.
No, I mean, Undying is a hero that is still in the Chinese scene, is banned almost every game. I mean, it's getting through a little bit more often in the West now, but it's going to be interesting to see maybe EG try to pick up that hero and take advantage of Chinese teams being a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, Lesh does come out as a ban right here from EG's side. Vici will get that first pick.
Normally, Vici isn't really keen on picking their mid laners very early on. Yeah. Super has a really, really diverse hero pool. He loves playing melee heroes in the middle lane especially, and so they don't really have to force the issue in terms of what they pick up from the middle lane. They can even wait it out and see what EG wants.
Do you have to pick the Wisp here as EG to avoid giving the two heroes that I actually look at most for Vici Gaming are FY on the IO or FY on the Bounty Hunter?
So the thing is, there's the Wisp, right? And of course, if you can build a lineup yourself around the Wisp, that'd be great.
Right.
On top of that, there's also the Shadow Priest, a hero that we saw in the seeding states. A lot of teams had a lot of respect for good reason as well. And putting the Shadow Priest together with the Bristleback, I feel, is also almost equally dangerous to that of a Wisp. So it's a.
So we've talked about this though in the context of the Drow Visage combo. That if Visage gets picked up first, you have to pick the Drow. I feel like this could be a trap for EG. They do not play the Wisp that often.
I think if they don't pick up either one of them, I think that's the right move to take. Just because they can't It's two diseases that they have to pick from, and then in the ban phase, VG can just ban out the other one if EG looks to have it. So I think they should just leave it out unless they want to play around the Wisp especially.
I would like to point out what Peter did in banning out that Leshrac. You were mentioning how VG is not very keen on picking their mid laner that early, and they leave the Queen of Pain in the pool, and usually it's an indicator that you want to tend to get that Queen of Pain, because Leshrac is the crucial matchup for Queen of Pain and Miro, and I do like that first pick on the side of EG here with banning out the Leshrac.
I would say EG tends to run Queen a lot in the safe lane.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. When you talk about EG and Queen of Pain, all three of their core players are excellent on this hero.
I just like, this is an excellent startup pick from EG.
Really
the Queen of Pain and the Earthshaker, it has a lot of versatility. They can put them on two positions on both heroes if they want to. Right. It adds 5-on-5, it adds disengage, it adds a fairly decent laning opportunity from the get-go.
It's also quite good against the potential IO pickup that you're mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is kind of the big difference that we saw from match 1 to match 2, is that now that we have depth on both sides, both teams trying to wait and feel it out from each other, who's going to take maybe that crucial IO first, or are you really both just going to leave it to the very end and see how things go down? Vici waiting for their second pick.
So if we go into the ban phase here, do you expect them to ban out both the Shadow Priest and the Wisp on EG side of things if Vici decides not to pick it up now? They do take the Wisp. That's just not.
Yep, we'll just skip right over that.
You had to expect it when they went Bristle first that they're looking for that combo. It's been devastatingly effective.
All right, well,
I actually wonder if we are looking towards a potential Enigma pickup on the side of EG, or if you run a short lane Queen of Pain,
it's risky.
That I think Enigma could work well against an IO.
I mean, it's a beauty to watch that little red dot link up on the map and just stand there ready with a black hole, right? So, in that sense, yeah, I think an Enigma would make for great entertainment at least. Not entirely sure that it's the strongest pick. Not yet, at least. I don't think it'll necessarily be banned out either, though. But EG do like to run it, especially when you have a player like Aoi.
Yeah, and as you guys mentioned, I mean, these teams tending to favor that Razor coming in, and we're going to see that banned out right away from Vici. Now, in terms of the remaining bans here, like, is there anything that's really going to help you figure out and pigeonhole the other team, or are you still just going for a little bit more stability?
Actually,
I think Undying
surprisingly still in the pool.
Right. I mean, you mentioned that earlier.
I think EG needs to be looking at banning out the Undying right now. It's disruptive to their lineup, and it helps out the VG Gaming lineup a lot to put on the early game pressure. I would hate to play up against a Wisp Bristleback Undying. That just seems like something you can never really kill and do anything about in the early game.
Do you think the Bounty Hunter is worth a ban here from EG?
No. I think if there's anything the seeding stage showed us, it was that Bounty Hunter is probably overrated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it was so good for Vici Gaming earlier in this patch. I mean, we saw them just exploit that hero so often, but lately I feel like they've had a hard time laning it.
I just feel like FI can have a lot more impact on another hero that is not a bounty.
A playmaking hero. Bounty is by no means a playmaking hero.
Right.
You know, you set up with track, you drag it out a bit, and then sure, you can get off a really cool Shuriken toss if you have 5 targets track, but that's about the biggest play you're gonna make. So no, I agree with Kai, and as the fan in the stands was saying, watching a Sand King from FY would be absolutely amazing.
Is a very good treat.
The one problem you might face is Sand King is not one of those heroes that's very strong on a lane, and you already picked an IO. Then you run with 2 supports that are rather weak in the early game.
But if you line the IO up with the Bristleback, you don't have
but
that issue.
you're gonna Bristle out dual mid here, aren't you?
Potentially. Or even offlane. I mean, we've seen that from MVP that ran Bristol IO, very successful on the offlane.
But at the same time, Earthshaker is really not a support you're going to have a whole lot of problems with, and if they do go for the Enigma pickup, you may as well optimize your own jungle as well.
With Enigma, you can get more greedy, for sure, but that happens to be, we have to see how the draft goes for that.
All right.
This is probably going to, because it's EG, this is probably going to be a support Naga Siren.
This I feel, unless they put the Earthshaker in an offline position, which they might already have decided to do, I feel this is getting incredibly greedy.
I don't know.
I would actually
punish BKBs so well.
No, definitely. But for the actual laning stage, especially when you're up against the Bristleback, you're running into issues of trying to win and dominate your lanes when you have 2 melee heroes designated as your supports. I don't really feel they don't really. I mean.
It can also be offlane shaker. I mean,
I was
exactly.
I would like to call out a potential maiden pick by EG here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If the Earthshaker is on the offlane, then the Siren is fine. But if this is their support duo, then you're gonna have issues early on.
All right, well, let's find out. I mean, we still have a little ways to go to wrap up all the picks on both sides.
If you're going to go hard 5 like that, though, wouldn't you Shadow Demon as PPD?
The thing is, with Maiden, if you look at all the heroes, if I want to pick up a Maiden, I look at cores that benefit a lot from the aura. Shaker on offlane benefits a lot from the aura because then you're not forced into mana boots. You will have a fish drop. Queen of Pain can use you benefit pretty much from all spells, having that mana aura, and then you can look in towards a short lane hero, or if it's Queen of Pain short lane, can still be, then you can look into another core that benefits from that aura, where I would like Maiden, as well as Naga Siren. Naga Siren, if you go Tranquil route and you don't get a Soul Ring, is also another hero that benefits a lot from having that extra aura.
No, I agree with you. If anything, it seems very likely, especially knowing EG, that they would pick up that Crystal Maiden.
I also really like the Disruptor pickup here from Vici, if only because first of all, they're very good with the hero themselves, but it also keeps it out of the hands of EG. That's a very popular Wisp counter.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it was very likely that EG would pick it up. I don't recall ever having seen PPD play Disruptor.
So more pickup for themselves rather than focusing too much on taking it away. All right. Well, Ben, what do you think? Oh, we're going to see the Dazzle come in right there.
For some reason, I keep thinking back to Tinker, just because Sumail's been playing that hero a lot, and they really like some sort of setup with the Naga Siren. So most of the time, it's Razor Link into sleep. He gets 200 damage, and then he kills everyone. Dazzle Weave is decent, too.
I think with this Dazzle Weave, I think we're looking at or with the Dazzle pickup, we're looking at a Naga Siren core.
Yeah.
Potentially even with a Queen of Pain, as you were coming into Queen of Pain offlane, might not be the worst. So I feel like EG's draft is very open at this point.
It is. I was going to say exactly the same. I think they're just very open in what the last decision can be. It can still be a Dazzle plus Naga support. It works.
No, this is the strength of EG, really. I mean, PPD is a great drafter all around, but also when you talk about the strength of a drafter, it has a lot to do with the tools that you're working with. And PPD has just an incredibly versatile set of tools at his fingertips.
All right, we're into the last bans for both teams. And as you guys mentioned, I mean, EG still no huge tell on what route they're going with the heroes they've selected so far. We'll see that finalized here in a second.
So unless Super is picking up that Bristleback, we still have his pick remaining, the way we were talking about how they don't really seem to favor his picks early on and that he can go into anything in the late game. What do you think, like, assuming that Bristleback is not the mid laner, what do you think they would be playing?
I mean, it's hard to argue with a Dragon Knight pickup at this point. Super is just so amazingly good in that hero.
But if you put a Queen of Pain middle against the Dragon Knight, that's very... It's really bad.
Okay.
So do you think it's better to just put the Bristleback in the mid lane?
I still like Bristle Io doing it.
I've actually played Bristol in a mid position for a very, very long time. I think it's a very stable hero. It's hard to kill, and once you get a bit of, like a certain amount of HP, you can gank the hero.
And the Wisp can come and help you, because you really don't need the Disruptor, almost regardless of what they pick up for the offlane on EG side of things. You really don't need more than this Disruptor to keep that away.
Okay, Storm just going to be banned out on the side of EG. Still, just kind of maybe the obvious choices left for VG Gaming, so EG not too concerned about other choices here.
Don't completely rule out a Super Invoker. That's a hero that they've run a lot.
I would love to see an Invoker.
The problem I see with Invoker, especially if you run Exo route, is they don't have a setup stun.
He almost runs exclusively always Quaswex.
Yeah, Super. Way back. If you go way back, he used to play Exarch, but recently it's been almost.
It's also actually quite nice when you run Tornado into a follow-up Static Storm. Right. It's quite easy to set up, or you have Darksteel Vacuum that can also join in that combination.
Well, I think VG Gaming last year, when we saw them, especially at ESL 1 in New York, whenever they'd pick up Invoker and they'd go the Exalt route, it would be played by Black. And whenever they did the Quas-Rex route, it would play by Super. So as Ben was saying, Super is really just more of a windy, frosty kind of guy.
But if you look at that, though, do you think that Bristleback is going to be enough physical damage on the side of Vici? Because I think right now it's not good enough.
With the Wisp, I think it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. With a Wisp to keep him in fights. I mean, he just closed those Cool Spray stacks up.
I mean, they could always just go back to Tiny as well, right? I mean,
they very well could.
Yeah, options left on both sides.
Oh wow, this is something that we've seen EG do quite a bit lately with Fear. Fear will often go Clinks and he'll rush home with Dominator for that early extra bonus HP and damage from eating the Dominator creep.
So this is an offlane Earthshaker?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Vici, now they have everything laid out in front of them. What's the best suggestion here for VG?
Up against the Clinks?
I still feel like Quaswex Invoker is okay.
I'm afraid that the setup might be too easy with the Siren. You're too vulnerable. Maybe VG is looking to
I don't think their late game's good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I also don't think Quaswex Invoker is that great against the Queen of Pain middle. I think it's alright, but it's not great.
Yeah,
alright.
Okay.
And it's
the extra physical damage.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah, you guys were talking about if they were lacking a little bit of a Vici, rounding it out with Phantom Lancer. That's it for the picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. EG versus VG coming right up as the casters take it away and guide us through game number 1.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's time to get underway for EG versus VG Gaming. I'm Toby One. I'm Johnny Blitz now at the desk. I'm so happy to be here finally.
I am so excited for this game especially. Like, of all the games today, I feel like this is going to be the hype one. I'm sorry to the rest of the people casting later on today, but this is the match you should watch. EG versus VG. The fact that one of these teams might go home after... Actually, they're going to go home after the series.
This is it, man.
Insane.
A single elimination. That's the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to this game. And it's going to be real rough for both of them. EG as well as VG, 2 of the 3 invited teams. They didn't have a great time during the seeding event. And now they're going to face up against each other. And what a hell of a game. What a hell of a draft as well that came out from both sides.
Yeah, I'm actually so excited to see how this works out. EG picking a lot of their flavor heroes, the Clinks especially. I really want to see how that plays out. You've got VG playing a more conventional lineup, and EG, the one thing they lack a little bit is that late game team fight lockdown. They're going to have to heavily rely on this Universe Earthshaker.
This is... See, how are you meant to rely on the Earthshaker? We were talking about this before when the draft was going on. So you run Earthshaker to the off lane. Is this the greatest position you want to put Universe in, where you have to be a lot more passive, fissure blocks, hold the creep wave back every single time, and not get up in the action? Because that used to be like one of the biggest calling cards of EG, where Universe dictated the pace of the game.
I mean, it's Universe. I assume that no matter what happens in this game, he's going to have a fantastic game. Like, that's the absurd part to me. And the last time these teams actually played against each other, it was in the seeding tournament, and I believe EG came out on top. And so I'm pretty excited to see if Vici have a response for this. And I mean, I'm really looking to see how more, if anything, this Clinks does, because I feel like that's going to be the hero that'll determine so much for this game.
So if we actually just try and break down the Clinks, what's the focus for him? Is he just meant to get this very quick Orchid and target down heroes like Disruptor and Wisp, for example? Or are we looking at him being this huge amount of physical damage, just delay it up, push down some tier 1 towers when you find the openings?
I think going for split push is okay, because they don't really have too much catch, especially if Thier decides to go for the second item BKB, or if he decides to do the Eternal Envy thing where he gets a Blink Dagger, then I think it's going to be incredibly hard to lock him down. But I think I really like the Clinks pick, mainly because the Disruptor and the IO in the late game especially aren't going to be able to do too much. Like, yeah, you could go for the Ghost Scepter, but that really hangs on the fact that Vici have to have a good early game to be able to afford those items.
Yeah, I don't think they even really want to be going for Ghost Scepter in this game. Like, you want to be going for something else which might be able to help out your supports. Like, yeah, you have the days of these more, what do I say, greedy supports where you buy such items where you can get something more like a Glimmercape, for example, or something that will help you, the rest of your team. Keep that PL and keep that Bristleback fighting on the front lines. Don't let them jump behind. I suppose that is one thing too, which we didn't really talk about with EG, maneuverability-wise. Like, Clinks does it through Invis, but he can't always guarantee he's not going to be visible underneath the gem or something. So the only other jump you've got is Queen of Pain and Naga Song to reposition. That's practically the whole arsenal until the Earthshaker also has a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, Vici though, they've kind of picked like they normally do. They don't seem to draft like too heavily into too many disables unless it's in their mid lane. Like, they've only got, in terms of hard lockdown abilities, they've got the Glimpse. And the Disruptor though, if he gets behind whatsoever in this game, it's almost going to entirely come on his shoulders, and I don't think I would like that too much. Like, I think Vici Gaming are more reliant on the laning phase than EG are, because EG have a lot of different options. They can eventually go to the split push. They've got 3 different cores that they can rely on. I say 3 different cores because I feel like AUI is a 3rd core more than Universe is it sometimes, and I think that their late game is probably going to be better, and it's going to be hard once EG pick up BKBs, so I feel like Vici really have to get off to a good start, but I don't really know where the ganking is going to come from, and so I feel like it has to be early lane presence. Like, they have to win the laning phase as hard as they possibly can.
Well, they got the heroes to do that. When you run a Wisp as well as a Bristleback together, you're able to get right up in the front of them and just spray out so much damage, and then Disruptor can at least keep them off the top lane, but it's the PL who you can't kill, so investing time to kill him off doesn't really work. And, also we should point out this actually going to be Wisp and Bristle in the mid, more than likely. And then the Darkseer, catching him out with the Earthshaker is a lot easier. Like, VG Gaming, you have to be careful when that fissure timing comes in, or potentially just the chase with the ensnare too, because that doesn't disjoint.
Something I have to talk about, and it's not directly related to this cast, but this feels like such a festival for me. Like, every time I go to Key Arena, it kind of feels like a really professional standard event. But this, I just see people walking around. There's tons of cosplayers, and there's just a lot of personalities out there. Like, I think I saw OD Pixel to the right of my screen.
Yeah, OD Pixel's been out there. Shiva and Sing Sing. I know you said Sing Sing was actually out here for like 2 hours. He's here for most of the first game, just signing signatures just down the corner.
Yeah, definitely approach these guys. They're all really friendly and nice people, except maybe Shane.
Wow.
Dude, Shane and me are buddies. I can make jokes like that. Or was it a joke?
You'll never know.
Alright, so it seems like we're maybe going to get it started as...
Yeah, we're going to go. There was some concerns about the ping that was coming up, but it's more the number which is just showing up wrong. It's probably going to feel very spoofed for the players. But as far as their pings which are showing up on their screens, it's not looking too comfortable. But either way, let's get back into the game. So, the battle for the runes. Let's actually check out and see how our lanes will look. So it will in fact be Hao as well as Fenrir, the combo from VG Gaming to run the safe lane with this PL as well as Disruptor. FY's Wisp, he'll be babysitting Super, who's the Bristleback in the middle lane, and Ice, who's got a lot of experience with that Bristleback, will not be playing it. He takes the Darkseer instead. And Universe, I wish him all the best of luck with the Earthshaker on the off lane. He's going to need it. While in towards the mid, we'll have Sumail for EG playing that Queen of Pain, one of the most favored mid solos currently. And then down the bottom lane, it will be Fear farming up this Clinks with PPD's Dazzle, and that leaves Aoi 2000 playing this support Naga Siren.
Yeah, so in this top lane, I'm curious to see. I actually think the Earthshaker is going to do okay against the dual lane of just the Disruptor and the Phantom Lancer. And I mean, I still can't believe this is the matchup. Two of the 5 best teams in the world, arguably, and crowd favorites, Vici Gaming versus EG. Who's going to come out on top as Universe does manage to get that block off on top.
Yeah, well, let's watch this laning phase too. Ice went for the iron shells to start with. Aoi he did this before when they were doing their placement matches, where you go for this one level up in Riptide and just try and get as close as you possibly can and harass them down. That's all they really do. Zone out the hero and don't do much more than that. But it doesn't mean that there's no kill potential. This is almost coming back to something you were talking about, Blitz, where you've got to look at the lane presence, and if EG can hold that lane presence, so if Fear can keep this creep wave back, if they can keep their pulls going, or no walls to block it out, then you're actually looking at a very strong lane for Fear. Then it's all up to Sumail to try and stay even with this dual lane in mid, which is not an easy task.
He should be okay, though. I think Queen of Pain is one of the better heroes against IO plus anything combinations because it's hard for her to die. You can't really chase her too far down because the blink range, if you just have her over, it's so long, and so it's difficult for her to die here, and I think that's the key, is that Vici Gaming understand they're like, okay, we have to shut down Sumail as much as possible. He's their snowball player, and they're doing a good job of it so far. As the Bristle's off to a fantastic start, as is the Phantom Lancer in this off lane, but Fear should have a really easy time in this bottom lane, and as a result of this dual lane mid too, Universe should be a little bit better off.
You're wondering how long it's going to be. What does Ice do once he burns out of his consumables? Because he's getting closer towards that soul ring of his, but PPD is just battling him directly, making sure he can drop him down. Like, the only thing that would be beautiful for Ice is if he gets a regeneration rune in the bottom river at the moment, and he's not lucky enough for that. It's only going to be a bounty for him. But you do get an action rune in for potentially FY. He's got now a haste rune on that Wisp.
Yeah, and I don't know if this haste is going to mean anything. I think it's just pick up whatever rune that you can. Having anything but the bounty rune is probably the best possible scenario. Unless you get something like the illusion rune on an IO, that probably doesn't change too much. But Sumail's still doing okay in this mid lane. He's really close to his bottle now. Once he has the bottle, he should be okay in this lane. And any form of rotation should mean a kill. And if Universe continues to get frustrated in this top lane, I could easily see him making a rotation to try to kill mid.
Yeah, maybe he will. We've already seen one rotation. It's Ice. He's left the bottom lane, and he's now farming up one of the dual stacks, which is already prepared for him inside the jungle, and FY is even going to help him out for this. There's another set with the Alpha Wolves as well as the Mud Golems, so we can have some fun over there a little bit later on. But this is going to power level up Ice. It gives him the rest of practically, well, not almost, but he's getting closer towards that Soul Ring, and then FY even uses the haste rune to attempt to sack, but he's actually failed on one of them. But this is VG Gaming with just really good presence when it comes to their jungle.
Yeah, and he didn't actually want to give the stack to the Darkseer, I think, but it's really crucial that you give the level 2 Ion Shell to the Darkseer, and he does have the Soul Ring now. So this bottom lane, if he opts to go for it, should be a lot easier, and I think he should. I don't think you completely abandon this bottom lane, because if he does, what it'll allow AUI to do is get moving, like you free up one of the supports from EG to be able to do whatever they want. And so I think this is one of the strengths of Ice, is that he's a really strong lane presence hero. Like, he always, no matter what the scenario is, instead of just straight going to the jungle, it feels like he contests a little bit more. Whereas I feel like Universe is one of those players that instead of trying to force out this lane, he's more content to go around the map, do stuff, stack for himself, go for gank attempts.
Yeah. Watching the movement of Aoi, because I was trying to work out what is the point of this Naga Siren. You're not level 2, you're hitting 4 minutes in, she's waiting to try and gank up this top rune. Now Fenrir doesn't have vision of Aoi 2000 on the high ground, so he'll come in, but all he's got is a Riptide available, because he doesn't even have Ensnare. But at least he pushes Fenrir off the rune, and that means Universe can come up and pick up the bounty. He's going pretty ham on Fenrir, in fact. He's got enough damage with another Riptide, maybe with the wall available, and then the attacks, but no. Fenrir puts up that wall, and there is no more chasing. But Aoi did scout out the fact that one of those camps were double stacked.
Yeah, and he was able to force out Fenrir, who doesn't have boots quite yet, and so if he was able to get that second Riptide off, you might have actually seen a first blood coming off from a solo Naga level 1, but he does pick up his level 2 now, and I think the main point of it is to be able to stop the Bristle in the mid and late game with the Ensnare. The physical damage that you can put out with Riptide in conjunction with the Weave, I think, is incredibly strong at the same time, and I mean, that's what Fear relies on. If he's going to go for the BKB as a second item, you need different ways to lower armor or just put out more damage, and that's one of them.
What is Aoi up to? He's semi-pulling in the jungle. He's not doing it properly, because he doesn't want to be stacking up VG's jungle. But it's like he's trying to interrupt VG Gaming, who now have basically 7 to 8 camps worth of creeps just in the closest 3 jungle camps. So that's a lot of farm to be taken. If Super moves for it, in fact, Sumail, be careful on this mid lane. If he gets Screamer's Wall Sonic Wave back up, he can blow Super apart.
And AUI is going to find FY in this jungle, but FY is actually just going to zone him out, and they're going to make an attempt for a brief second before realizing that AUI has boots. Should be just fine with 370 move speed on Naga.
At this position, when you're Sumail, do you try and wait until you 100% know where FY is before you go on super? Especially when he's that low, because you just know like the heal the super can provide.
This is actually kind of a different look that I'm seeing from Sumail, because typically you would see him go in for that or make an attempt, but it looks like he's a lot more patient, and I think part of the reason is that there is a dual lane mid, but he's still free farming. Like, he has more CS than Super actually does, and that's pretty surprising considering the start they had. At the same time, though, Super's giving himself options to catch up, as that bottom rune is denied by PPD, and Super's just going to go for the ancient stacks at the same time as the IO going for the jungle stacks.
They're coming into contested. This is really big for Aoi. And it's not just one. They can actually go for more, because you do have the healing salve and the haste rune in for Queen of Pain. So Sumail will walk up and realize, wait, that's a triple stack. But maybe they use this haste rune instead, not to just find the stacks, but to find Murder. And they got Hal. Wait for that doppelganger. Is he going to use it? The first Virtue and the Sonic Wave. There goes your doppelganger. Up to the trees. Rover Sumail will chase him. One more attack. In comes Swift. They need more damage. He's still a holding position, but there's a streak from Sumail. Finds one. Still has the effect of the haste rune on him, so they can't control him, but there's more support. Ice and Super chasing up to Aoi, but the Fisher block from Universe keeping them at bay, and they cannot find a return kill onto EG, but they can secure the last stacks they have.
And what a ridiculous move by EG. Even Universe coming over, he recognizes the danger that his teammates are in. I thought AUI was going to go down for sure, and I think Vici had the same idea, but the Fissure flies in from nowhere, able to save that, and getting the first blood onto Hao. I thought for a split second there, Hao would be able to get saved, but there's just a little bit too much damage, and Sumail was even so patient with that Sonic Wave. He waited for Universe to throw down the Fissure first. Great team play by EG.
This is exactly what EG fans would want to see. The coordination, the movement of EG, that's always been one of their biggest strengths. I know most of the time when I'm just like awestruck by EG's performance, most of the time is because PPD is always there at the right place at the right time for either saves or initiations. And EG also read the situation perfectly. They realized VG Gaming then wanted to clean up their stacks before EG would come in again, so they pushed the wave out. They used the Shadow Wave, they let Fear let loose searing arrows, and they take the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and the fact that they still left those two heroes at bottom, didn't have to rotate anybody. Just being able to rotate Queen of Pain.
Going on Fenrir, the Glim's going to pull him back, but the arrow is not enough. 21 HP he'll survive on, and PPD even denies Super the rune on bottom. VG Gaming is getting very, very crowded on their side of the river.
Yeah, and they're just being shut out so far. First tower of the game taken by EG. And this is what we talked about, is that EG, if they had the better laning phase, things were going to look a little bit ugly in the mid game. And the fact that they were able to get a first blood onto that Phantom Lancer, like, that's pretty ridiculous at this early phase in the game. And you don't typically see Hao get pressured that early. And I really like what EG are doing, is they're giving us another look. But at the same time, the team fight from VG Gaming is so strong. You've got the Disruptor, Kinetic Field, plus the Static Storm combo, as well as the wall. So you can't really count them out in the mid game.
That you can't. I'm still watching this mid. Super. He was trying to get up in the face of Sumail, and Sumail doesn't look like he actually cares before. Like you were saying, like Sumail, normally he would go in and just try and pop Super at a moment's notice. Like he had one split opportunity to go for it. I think his mindset might be moving back into this, especially when you can have help arriving. You look for it to come through. Actually, they can't actually see the dazzle there yet, because Super, now he's back on the high ground, he will see it. And I make sure there's no high ground wards for him. But the movement that was coming out from Fear, he's already moved off that lane. They give the space to Aoi, so now he's going to get his level 6 nice and quick, and Fear goes on the hunt for either the low farming Darkseer or Wisp and Disruptor. They're the 3 targets he wants, and, well, he's found one, but he can't kill Ice.
Yeah, and they're just going to pass each other as Ice is actually drops down the wall at the same time, and that might have been a mistake, as they don't really have Dust or Sentries to be able to deal with this, and maybe that was just a zoning wall, thinking that maybe people were smoked up, but at the same time, EG aren't really hiding themselves, as they did show most of their heroes on the map, and it's not too big of an investment, though. Like, the wall isn't going to break or make your fights early game.
Yeah. And right now I think it's more of a, we'll just try and survive, both try and take each other's baits. Fear's on a hunt, he knows that. So if you put down the wall, it's a little bit of an intimidation factor. Fear gets to hunt even more, finding himself an invis rune now, but the highest entry ward is down. So FY, he was looking for the Observer Ward that watches them farming up the Ancient stack, because that would allow EG for a timing attack if they could find one. Because Super does have to drop very low in order to take out this stack.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried right now in this top lane. Somehow Universe is kind of just taking control of this lane, and he's actually zoned out How. Like, he just spammed out the Fissure with the Soul Ring, and all of a sudden Universe has a free lane to himself, and Vici Gaming are kind of hold up on this side of the map.
Super so low, the Riptide, it wasn't close enough for him, but Fear, he's still on his tail, but with the back turned, he knows he can't kill him with Searing Arrows, but maybe he can find someone else, and that's Fenrir up with the strafe. It's just too quick. Even if that fourth arrow didn't do the damage, he would have had it from the Naga Siren Riptide.
That damage is unreal from Fear, as he's able to just pick off a solo kill, and 10 minutes into the game, it's only 2 kills, but still EG, they're just kind of tightening the nooses. They continue to farm out the jungle of Vici Gaming, and at that top lane as well, How just keeps getting fissured out. Like, you see it over and over again, and he doesn't have the regen to be able to deal with this, and he's already been sent back to base by Universe solo already once.
He also can't have the supports. FY's got to stick with the Bristleback, and what's the Disruptor really going to do this early on? You don't have that much to speak with, to use. Like, you throw down a wall, maybe you can control him for a little bit of time, but with the long-range Fissures, we're looking for the stuns. Now they go on Hal, and he actually evades it. Good doppelganger away. They were waiting for that prep time. Universe just wanted the perfect time to get the stun and then buy all the space in the world for Fear just to kill him.
Yeah, but I think even with the Fissure, that was an unlikely gank, but I do like the fact that they're pressuring How as much as they can, because there is no ward up here, and you're just kind of buying space for Universe as much as you can, who's already picked up his level 7, and this Darkseer does have a fully completed mech. I didn't even realize that Ice has done this, and that was really good timing.
That's because he got those big stacks inside the jungle, and they gave him the space for it, but what did he really get in return? Like, your PL is nowhere near ready to fight yet, especially up against this lineup of EG, which is already hunting them. Be careful of that Sentry, Fear. He's up in the trees. Yep, they can see him. They'll trigger the dust. They're going to try and catch him out. And Fear turns for the damage on Fenrir and actually just decides to stand his ground here. He knows he's dead. And then in comes Sumail looking for that sonic wave of his. But it will be a wisp for the Clinkz trade-off until Ice will join the fight. Body blocking up Sumail. Blink 1 second on cooldown. The wall drops. They don't have enough damage to finish the job. But they can pull him back in again. The glimpse Sumail. Nagasong. Aring was too far out. They might have 4 players grouped up. But it's like watching an Enigma Black Hole hitting 5 heroes with no follow-up. It's just nothing.
Yeah, and fantastic play from Vici Gaming, finally having a response to this aggression, but at the same time, Universe continuing to farm out that top lane. He's getting really close to that Blink Dagger now, and really good fight, though, as both the Queen of Pain and the Clinkz go down for EG. And the reason why that's so important is that Fear was getting a little bit out of control, as was Sumail, but that'll just kind of put things on hold as Vici Gaming resets the game.
I do like this defense that comes in from EG. Like, Vici Gaming resets it, but with this Naga Siren with Shadow Wave, like, it's such a beautiful combination that you can take out almost any creep wave before it reaches the base, or even, in this case, the tower. So how does VG Gaming even go up until you have like an insanely tanky Bristleback as well as PL? Kind of feels like their game has to go about 45 to 50 minutes in order for them to actually be strong enough to go up on high ground.
I don't think it'll take too long, though. They do have the IO plus Bristleback combo. That's one of the tankiest in the game. You've got Fenrir, who's about to pick up his level 6. 14 minutes into the game, it's about a minute or two later than you would have liked to see, considering he was in that top lane for the most part, but he's done a pretty good job of picking up levels and trying to keep up in this game, and they do have enough of a wombo combo lineup that I feel like things are still okay for Vici Gaming. Like, we're talking about as if this game was already over, but EG Gaming far from victory.
Yeah. This game can go either way. I'm still watching Sumail sitting at the top of the net worth, and he's going to be building into an Aghanim Scepter for his build. So feeling like the fights are going to just be continuously happening. It's also a great lane push ability too, once you get that low cooldown.
I think it's fine because I don't think Sumail's the type of player that opts to go for the BKB as a first item often, just because of his playstyle, and I think he'll go for it second. I think he'll definitely go for a second, because typically we see him go for the Eul Scepter if he wants to be defensive, but the Eul Scepter doesn't actually stop the glimpse. Yep. So I think he'll opt to go for the BKB and
I think that's the right decision, and going for the Aghanims just makes him a little bit tankier, and it helps him clear those PL illusions with that damage. And at top lane, it looks like they are making a move for this as they're smoked up, and Universe has no idea this is coming.
And his Fidge is on cooldown, so getting out of this one's going to be difficult, but Ice still there. There comes your Fidge with the Echo Slam and the Totem, so Ice will be controlled. The Shallow Grave will keep Universe alive a little bit longer. It's Mail with a Screamer trying to grave. Ice will die in the tower. While Fenrir tries to his ground. More heals coming in from PPD. Mail will finally drop, but it's for two players of VG Gaming is the high cost, and they're still behind the Tier 1 tower. Owie, no stronger than the Siren, but it's there in a secondary Fissure. How in super control. Now Fiat to the front lines. He's hitting the back of Super, not what he really wants to do, but there's no other real choice. The denial of the tower will be there from EG. And VG Gaming committing heavily for this, but they do get the biggest net worth here on the map. They brought down Samael.
Yeah, and they didn't manage to kill the Earthshaker.
Oh wow,
they're going to be happy with that.
He's Fidge blocked in. FY is still here. Relocates on cooldown for the moment. Are they thinking about chasing under?
I think they're actually going to... Oh, no. Super is way too low, but...
FY's out of mana too. He's got 8 stick charges, but that's all.
And Super's proving really hard to kill, though, and EG are having a hard time running through him. They do manage to pick up 2 there, but they do get a tower. It is denied, but probably not the worst thing in the world for Vici is they didn't lose their Phantom Lancer or their Bristleback, and Ice at this point in the game already has what he needs to be effective in the game. Like, he's got the Arcane Boots, he's got the Mechanism. If he didn't have either of those items, I feel like it would have been a little bit more rough dying there, but I think he's okay with it, and they know that Fear is here, but he's actually just going to turn on the fly.
Oh, it's a good thing those 2 charges are available, but Fear dusted up, blooms back in again. He's trying to run out, but the kinetic field will hold him in position. Fear's going to drop. VG Gaming taking the kill, and the rune to boot.
Yeah, and I think Fear, that was way too over-aggressive. Going for that IO, the chances of him getting that kill, especially with that Bristleback somewhat near, I think that's a little bit too greedy, and they're punishing him right now. And this is a Fear that we typically don't see. Fear normally just kind of farms out and then tries to look for the timings, and he's going to go for the Desert right now, but so far he's been unsuccessful with his roam.
In that case, I think he felt a little bit pressured because he got hit by one of the Wisp balls. So when that happened, instantly the mind just flashes, wait, can they actually see me? There was a sentry ward there before looking at him. And he might have thought the same thing was happening again, so he just went all out. Maybe he could find a kill, maybe he'll die. Either way, the decision had to be made.
Yeah, and so far, EG, they're going to pick up some core items here. Sumail has his Aghanim Scepter now. It's 17 minutes into the game. I think that's about right, if I remember correctly. Like, the item timings are so messed up in my head with the new patch, but I think with 2 kills and 100 CS at 17 minutes, he's doing just fine. And if you're EG, what you're even more happy about, Toby, is this Blink Dagger pickup on Universe, and he hasn't even shown it yet. He was hoping that Vici would get aggressive in this mid lane, and Vici are going to smoke up, but they don't know about the Blink Dagger from Universe unless he opts to show it at this top lane, and he might just go ahead and do that, but he doesn't have a TP, and that's a little bit worrisome right now if you're EG.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the courier to see if it's going to bring it out, but it's just sitting back at base, not doing much, and Universe has revealed the fact the Blink Dagger is up, but there's still no pings coming out from VG Gaming, letting them know about that, but they can at least know that the Earthshaker is on the top lane. And EG have the choice. Do you try and fight this now? Like, Universe is moving back over, but no TP, so he can't just jump to the Tier 1 tower and then blink into the Echo Slam. That's not a possibility for him at the moment. And in fact, it looks like EG is going to go for a potential move of their own, because they're just 5-manning down mid. Okay, so it's a trade-off time. Tier 1 for Tier 1.
I think if you're EG, this is the correct choice. You don't know who's down there, how they're set up positionally, and it's just a better move to be able to go for your own tower and force something out, and they're able to pick that up really quickly. And like I said, I think the late game does favor EG, and so there's no reason to have to force. Going for one-for-one trades against a team that I think relies more on that early mid-game gold boost is a pretty good trade-off for you, as Universe just goes to the top lane, trying to pick up the level 11 at the same time. And Super, though, almost has... I think he should go for an SNY.
Yeah, it's going to be an SNY. The Blade as well as the Band of Elskim has just been picked up. So he's going for the full stats build. Why do you prefer SNY over something more like a Halberd, knowing that the Clinks hasn't got an MKB yet?
I think just going for the SNY allows you to chase a little bit more. It gives you the attack speed, because you can utilize attack speed with your Warpath. And I think it's a better option than going for something like the halberd. Like, you can build into evasion a little bit later. You probably don't even need evasion because it's only the clinks, and it's really unlikely the clinks is going to hit you anyways. Because with your bristle back up, if they don't have a silver edge.
This is a moment right now. Naga Illusion's going to scout out the fact that Roshan's out. Remember, Song of the Sirens, the greatest control around Roshan, but Universe starts with a fissure. Blink is off cooldown, but here comes that Song of the Siren. FY's a little bit further away, so potentially he can relocate Save More. Ice. I don't think they know he's actually up on the hillside. Eurekasen's still going to come in. They drop the Disruptor down. The Sonic Wave does some decent damage, but they still haven't found any more kills here, EG. A secondary fissure. Summon Ice and Super. The illusions are up. The Fear comes in to relocate to try and pull him a little bit further away. Roshan's down to half of his life. But EG commit a hell of a lot to pick up at this point just a Disruptor, and VG Gaming aren't done. Universe running around the back of him, Fissures available, wants to throw it out, actually separates FY as well as Super, not the side of the rope, the Fissure that he really wants to be on, but now FY rejoins him, tethering over the top while PPD has to shallow grave himself and TP out to safety. The only way for him to survive after Ice's already used more, but yep, Fear dying up in the upper river as Bristleback was chasing him down, and they can come in and finish Roshan.
Yeah, and such a smart move by Vici, just getting the IO and the Bristleback out of the way. Ice, patiently waiting. He didn't even pop that mech. I think he was waiting for the last possible moment, but a good turnaround from Vici Gaming, who immediately, yeah, they lose a Disruptor, but at the same time, you're going to gain a Roshan from this, and EG try to stop you, and lost Fear once again. And Fear dying there, it's just not being able to let him snowball. He doesn't have the Desolator yet, and even if he gets it, that's a one-position Clinks that still doesn't have any tier 1 or 2 items.
And he really needs it up against this lineup. That Clinks needs to have Deso, BKB, Monkey King Bar. Like, you just start listing it out. The only way for him to survive during the engagements. Now VG Gaming add pressure in towards that mid lane. They have the Aegis Immortal over on the PL. So Hal's got a little bit more survivability. Sonic Wave actually nicely on Fenrir as well as Hal. Obviously, Aegis Hero being hit by a Sonic Wave isn't that bad. And they're just trying to keep this tier 1 tower up, but it actually almost looks like EG's just in a position to deny it if possible. Fortification, VG don't have a creep wave with them, but they're letting Aoi farm the bottom lane and Fear farm up on the top, and it looks like, yeah, PL will still get the last hit.
And EG, now they're going to go for the split push game. They realize team fight after team fight hasn't gone their way. I think it's been just a little bit too much of an overcommitment. Like, they use the Echo Slam just for the Disruptor. They do manage to pop him, but they just don't have enough follow-up damage or crowd control to kill the rest of the heroes. You saw the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave go down, but I feel like in this game especially, it has to be a finishing move, or it has to drop them so low that the Wiz Tether doesn't really do anything. But that wasn't the case in that Roshan fight, and Universe had to use that Echo Slam just to take down the Disruptor. And that was like 3 ultimates just to kill 1 hero.
So I'll ask you a question right now too, because I'm looking at Aoi doing it again. He did this during the seeding matches on his Naga Siren. He's building a Radiance on the Naga as his first major item. And this is instead of going something else like Solar Crest or something along those lines.
We don't know for certain though. Like, it could be in this mid lane. He's gonna get glimpsed back.
Yeah, but it wasn't far enough out. Samal actually waited out quite nicely. So Fenrir was baited into using both his ulti, glimpse, and wall. So Samal I don't think he had any intention of fighting that.
No, I think he was just trying to get out and bait a little bit, and he should feel really safe now because, like we talked about, Toby, what are the real lockdown abilities for VG Gaming? It's just that Disrupt plus the Static Storm combo, and if either of those things aren't up, I think Sumail's going to feel really free to just farm wherever he wants, and AUI is doing AUI things, continuing to farm out this bottom lane. I think a Radiance would actually, as weird as it sounds, be okay right now. Like, I think in the game he got it, it wasn't the best idea. It was this game, though.
It was a delayed idea in the game he got it, because in the game he got it, it was like, if he got it 10 minutes earlier, then they could have countered the split push, which was coming against them. But in this game, in fact, VG Gaming's split push isn't that terrific, apart from the fact they do have a Wisp on their team.
And this top tower is going to get saved, and Universe is just kind of lurking, seeing if he has any opportunities, but that's an Aegis Phantom Lancer. I really doubt that EG wants to fight into that. There's no point. You might as well wait it out. Sumail looks like he's going to go for a Shiva's Guard or an Assaultchorus. I think a Shiva's is a little bit more likely. Like, he probably just thinks he needs a little bit more armor for the Bristleback and to tank up the Phantom Lancer illusions.
Can even just leave it as a casual plate mail for now.
Yeah, I really would have liked to see the BKB, because I feel like he'd be invincible in the fights, and the mana burn wouldn't do anything, but Fear's on the hunt again, and he's done this so often, at some point he has to be successful, right?
well, every time he's gone hunting, he hasn't had the vision for it all. He puts down the observer ward now, which means he can see
he sees
Fenrir.
Fenrir this time, and
Yeah, but they saw him.
yeah.
And they're dusting for him too. Fear making a very wise decision to bail out, but he would have seen that dust triggered,
he's
which
coming
means he
back in
knows
for
that
it.
Fenrir can't see it. He actually has a double chance here because there's both Courier as well as Hero. Oh, he's going to take both of them. A quick TP out, and that is a beautiful play.
That was amazing by him. Wrapping around after the dust, there's no way that Fenrir thought he was going to be there in Fear. Successful with that rotation. And for the first time in this game, once again, EG, it feels like they've taken back a little bit more control as AUI's already built up 3,400 gold.
Yep, that Radiance is coming, man.
How many support players do you know that just farm like this?
But that's through the sacrifice of Fear. And this was something too which we were always flagging with EG. A couple of months ago, it was always like, hey, what's going on?
This top lane though.
Yep, that's not great. Hal right behind him. Universe in trouble. Ice will back him back in again. So the Earthshaker will drop. But to go back about what we were saying, like, okay, maybe we may even wait a little bit longer. No, Fear, FY, they're fine. Unless Fear's really going to try and just pop him. Okay, he's got a lot of damage to kill him off. FY cannot reach the Ancients in time. And what's Super going to do? Stun him? He doesn't have one.
Yeah, and this is the issue about playing against two supports that don't really have hard lockdown abilities. I think you're relying a little bit too heavily on Glimpse. And if you notice, Fear starts to realize this as he's building towards a BKB, and it's going to be so hard for them to lock him down. And look how quickly he takes down both supports. And they're so pivotal to this game. Like, Vici needs their supports to be able to lock down or keep their cores alive.
But they're so poor. Like, Fenrir is 2.3k in the network. That's not enough.
He is trying. That's what matters. And he's building up a little bit more HP, but that Ghost Scepter we were talking about, or that Glimmer Cape, I mean, that feels so far away right now for Vici.
It really is, man. I'm wondering if they can even get there, if EG can keep this presence up. PPD going on a mission right behind enemy lines. Defender is going to see him. PPD, come on back over here. The wall will come up, but he walks out of it in time. He still has Weave available, and a Shallow Grave, so we can play around with this a little bit. Even 17 Watch, just buys a Ghost Scepter before death. So 4 heroes will kill off this Dazzle. He doesn't lose any money, primarily because he spent all of it before he died. Just has some death time.
And how all of a sudden, I didn't actually realize this, but he's about to pick up a Scotty if he wants it, and I think that is going to be the direction that he decides to go for. Even going for, he's just going for heavy stats, because he realizes that the burst damage from EG is so high, and going for something like a BKB on how I feel is a little bit wasted, so just pumping up your stats as much as you can is probably better, just so you keep yourself in fighting shape at the same time. It keeps your illusions really strong, and Universe continuing to do what he's done all game, just kind of throwing out the Aaron Fissure atop to harass him and make him feel like he's under pressure. But he's going to TP out now as he might sense that people are up here, and there is a rotation coming in, and he's already long gone.
There's a lot of heroes missing from the map. They didn't see anyone inside the jungle because the Observer Ward Fear left behind. So warning bells just flagged that something was awry. And now Aoi, well, he almost broke the smoke. Now he will, because he gets pulled away and locked in position. Now Aoi with the Darksteel wall back in. He's got light because the one charge. In fact, some mail. They turn on the song and the siren and just stall things up, bringing the Fear coming from the side. So he sees FY. He's going to kill off FY before the fight can even begin. Now the Fissure on 2. Has Defender controlled. Even the Exocet. Super can't go anywhere. Fear just keeps pumping the damage from the tree line. Even the Sonic Wave bounces out to Ice. And Howl's on the run. Doppelganger is off cooldown. And Fear, it looks like he's just waiting for that. Semele body blocking him up. Goes onto the high ground. And Howl will TP himself away. While the Fissure block, it won't work on Super on the top lane. He'll back out to the tier 1 tower.
And we're seeing the power of the Clinks right now. Neither of the supports on Vici Gaming are able to survive at Alto B as they get dropped immediately by that Desolator, and that item purchase is looking smarter and smarter as he just rips through both supports before they can really get anything off.
And it's so cheap and so early. Like, it could have been earlier. Like, if you didn't have those two deaths, it would have been a worse position for these supports of VG.
Yeah, and you see the IO, he's only got 1 armor. Fenrir's got double that at 2. Both heroes unable to survive, and EG, I mean, I don't really know how they're going to lose these team fights, as Clinks can just continue to go on both of those supports. And once he gets a BKB, it's going to be even easier. And what they need...
It's going to be even easier, too, once you have that Radiance over on Naga. She's got the Relic and 500 gold. Like, I was talking before about the chip damage you have with just the illusions into the Shadow Wave that comes in from PPD. Now you've got these illusions just chasing after your Wisp, who's only got 1,000 life. Like, this isn't enough for a Wisp to really be useful as well.
AUI is almost going to be a core at some point. And this is, I think, a really good idea from EG. They tried working it the other day. It didn't work out to perfection, but I think they've kind of worked out the kinks a little bit more. And it looks like AUI, I mean, this is the role that you want to put him in. You want to put him on the greediest possible support that can scale somewhat into the late game. And I mean, the Naga just works out in so many different ways. It synergizes really well with the Riptide and the Medallion. It means that you can go for the Roshan. If yours already picked up a Desolator and the Weave, what hero can survive that on the side of EG Gaming?
Like, maybe once these BKBs have arrived, which, by the way, the Bristleback has now completed, but they might be losing FY. Sonic Wave just explodes him on the top lane. The Observer Ward was watching him move down, and that's why it just looks so easy. But Ice. Okay, he's coming in for Owie, but now Fear can try and beat into him. The back. Owie's not a healthy man here. Less off the Song of the Siren, and it'll buy time because the rest of EG has arrived. Universe with the Blink Dagger available, and they're looking for a little bit more as Samael's jumped up after Fenrir. The Fincher, it actually hits Ice and Fenrir together. Samael will blink out for the screen kill. They have How and Super, the last two cores of EG surviving. Maybe they can find a revenge kill. They're after Universe. Back onto the Radiant side of the river. And the doppelganger defusal. Universe will drop, but up on top river. Super control, PPD, 54 life. He's got the distance and Fear's got the damage. They're ripping apart Super. They need more. They've got more. That last attack, they've got him down for the count. There is still one little bit of a fight going. How is he keeping himself away to safety? How has no stuns, but Fear has no mana. He's in real trouble. There's another heal available here from PPD, but Fear's got no bonus damage. And support's arriving from VG. In comes that set of support from FY. They'll find PPD, and now EG have overstayed their welcome. That, again, Computer Blade going to work, slowing him down. PPD, no mana, no life, no hope. He is trying to deny himself off to the neutrals, but he cannot do it. I will take the kill. And we go 14-10 now, 31 minutes in.
Yeah, and that Phantom Lancer is just so far. He's got the Ioscotty. He's one of the last members of his team to be able to survive throughout that entire fight. He picks up 2.3k for himself, and Phantom Lancer is one of those heroes that can do it without supports. Just having the illusions, you've got an army on your own, and EG have to respect that at all times. They can't overextend. You can't feed kills like this to Hao, because if he gets any sort of momentum, Hao is the type of player that will farm out the entire map. This is a TI winning player on their team. Like, they have to respect that at all times.
The Courier is delivering the golden bling. It is the Radiance coming up to Owie now. So with all the fights that happened previously, now I'm wondering if VG Gaming will find themselves into a different style of game. So we've gone from passive laning to see who can get the advantage into more of these controlled team fights set up from Naga Sleep, all the counter initiation with Disruptor helping them out. Now we turn it into a split push game. We turn it to just control the lanes and just take the better trade.
I think if you're EG, continue to do what you do. The Clinks is going to go for the supports, farm out the enemy jungle, and just get deep. And it forces Vici, even if they get the kill onto Fear, it takes too much of a commitment. Let AUI just continue to do AUI things. And the one really weird thing, Toby, I've talked about this with other pros, is that even though AUI has core farm, you don't really want to spend your time ganking him, because he still at heart is a support hero. Yep. Like, that's the fourth hero that you want to go for, but the fact that AUI is as farmed as he is this game, I mean, they might have to rethink that and just kind of treat him like even a 3 position or a 2 position at this point.
Well, VG Gaming take another Roshan. At the same time, EG, this is that game of trades I was talking about, where you just keep pushing. You've taken out the tier 1 tower in the top lane, and the tier 2 tower's down to 2/3 of his life. VG might try and find a bit of a counter initiation, but they won't find their targets. And this is just good money. Fear, though, he's in a good position right now down Hao. He's got PPD waiting a little bit further up, waiting for that doppelganger away potentially, but they need a stun or some level of control, and that's why Universe is about to jump in. Nope, doppelganger down. PPD has to Shallow Grave TP. There's no choice with the damage. He's gonna live. I was worried that Shallow Grave would actually wear off before the end of the TP, but he was 100% A-okay.
Yeah, and this ward immediately spotted the Earthshaker rotation. Even if Hao doesn't think that there's more heroes there, he just has to get out. There's no way that he risks it. Especially, you don't want to just give up this Aegis, because it's buying you even more time, and it makes them so afraid to fight. And once he picks up that butterfly, is Fear anywhere near anything like an MKB? No.
He's got nothing on the Courier, only got 1,800 gold. With the BKB and Desolator, yes. And not at that point yet. And do we have anything which can even remove, like, the evasion? There's no Scythe device up and running.
Yeah.
In fact, look at Samael as well. Like, we've got a soul booster over on this quad. But it's not a Scythe device build.
Octarine core is really strong though. It makes the blink so low. you can get a little bit more utility out of that ultimate, and once you pick up the Scythe of Ice, it's going to be incredibly powerful because it does lower the cooldown by so much. But VG Gaming at one point, I mean, 5k gold and 5k XP was going the way of VG, but now it's starting to drop down a little as they're making their march in this bottom lane and just sending Super to push the rest of the lanes and making it hard for EG to go for that split push. But AUI has farmed out the enemy jungle so many times.
Super running after PPD, doesn't want to stop at all for this one. Sumail doesn't really want to be part of it either, but do keep bringing Super down bit by bit. That tier 2 tower does drop on the bottom lane, and FY will come in just to make sure the Bristleback is safe. While up on top, the Song of the Sirens going off from Aoi 2000 just allows for the escape. Ice is TP'd in for it, but Universe just keeps on the run.
And AUI has built himself up 2.9k gold, hasn't died once, and he's truly going for the carry build now. Immediately disassembles the arcane boost for that boost of travel, just keeping that energy booster so that he can keep up his farm. And I mean, this guy, what can you say? Not even really a support player. And
he really isn't. He's actually greedier than EGM, and that's saying a hell of a lot.
Hey, that's my friend.
It's your friend, and you know your friend very well.
I do know that. AUI might have taken it to the next level as he's got a Radiance, boost of travel. I mean, even EGM would build the Halberd or go for the defensive items, but AUI has embraced the carry as he realizes the situation that EG is in, because how is still so strong?
It's the new 4-core meta. It's all about the 4-core, man. It's all about the 4. I'm also watching Fear, who didn't go the Monkey King bar. So even though this evasion is here for Hal, he went for Crystallis into the Daedalus. So he's just trying to pop everyone else apart from the PL. Speaking of which, now he's going to get initiated on. They force Staffs to mail away, as again with the future charges get spent. But Hal's already had to buy a whole new set of that. He leveled up his Diffuser Blade up to level 2.
And this is how you stop a split push, Toby. You bring the fight to them, you force heroes over, you make sure that AUI by himself can't really do anything, and they take out the tower so quickly that it doesn't allow EG to establish any sort of fight, and with that Aegis, it's hard. But Hal should be losing it at any moment, I think, and he's going to pick up a Butterfly at the same time, and that's really going to help out the DPS potential of this Phantom Lancer, who continues to rocket up in the net worth card as EG have kind of slowed down the pace of the game, but I don't even know if that benefits them.
With items now arriving, like a full Assault Cuirass with a full Butterfly, it's benefiting them in the gold graph. Like, they're still 1.5k ahead while still being 2 tier 2 towers down. So they are getting more money out of this map, but that's also because VG Gaming have nothing on their support. It's a 1/6 disruptor from Fenrir. It's going to be one of the hardest games he's played in a very long time. But at least Wisp has something. Like, he has a Glimmer Cape and 1300 gold, so the Wisp has something to play around with. And he's already giving a fair amount over to that Bristleback during the fights.
Yeah, and EG are smoked up, but the Bristle isn't the target that they want to go for. They have vision on him, but he's the last person on the team that you even want to make an attempt on, and I think EG are still kind of okay. Like, AUI has a Soul Booster, he's going to get an Octarine Core, then most likely the Manta Style, and then something like the Diffusal, and if he picks up all those items, then he truly will be like a hard carry at that point in the game.
He's the perfect control factor. You put an Octarine Core on this guy, and maybe even if you could farm up like a full carry, you get an Aghanim Scepter upgrade onto the Naga Siren. You give your life back while you hold VG Gaming in position. I don't know how VG Gaming is still meant to take the high ground when you're going up against such high levels of control.
I think if you're VG Gaming, you have to go for the next Roshan, and that has to be your high ground maneuver.
Yep.
Taking most of the tier 2 towers out in the game, but
well, opening. Well, maybe not. They see him. It's going to be Fear. This turns on the BKB, kills off the Disruptor, and they can't do anything to stop him. But that is going to be his BKB on the cooldown for the kill of a Disruptor.
I think he's okay with that, though. Make the poor. And the IO doesn't really even have that much. He has the Glimmer Cape, yeah, but what does Fenrir really have, or what is he building towards? He's getting his own Glimmer Cape, but it's so far away, and he doesn't even have treads to go along with it. He just simply doesn't have the HP, and it's not even the magic damage from EG that is really going to bother you at this point.
And I don't think, yes, it's the control that you don't have. Like, if you had an Aghanim Scepter on this Disruptor or anywhere near it, then the BKBs of EG won't be as effective, or potentially there's a lot more fear being inserted, but it's just not the case. Now they're controlling up to some fake copies of Wisp. The rest of VG Gaming have already bailed off this top lane.
And I thought that EG, if it got to a late game scenario and they had some sort of lead, I thought this game would be in the bag for them, especially with the way that AUI was farming. But Hal and Super have just done a splendid job of keeping up in farm, and Hal especially he had such a rough start in the early game, going down to that early gank, but he's come back in a big ways. He's 4-1-3, and with this next Roshan, I don't really know how they're going to kill him twice.
Fear's getting some intel right now up against VG. I don't think they can. I don't know if Pump was intentional, but it was awesome. VG Gaming grouping up again. Do we have, I'll say, could Fenrir even afford smoke? He's actually got 1,000 gold on him. So you've got something in this Disruptor's bank.
But you have to consider, most of that is tower gold. Consider, they've taken 6 towers and a Roshan, and he doesn't have treads. He's got 1k gold and a cloak. That's how you know he's poor.
What's he bypassing his treads for as well? Like, you would have spent that money already. In fact, he's now selling up, and it's going to be a Shadow Amulet.
It has to be the Glimmer Cape. What does the tread do for you?
Nothing. He just sacrifices everything to get that Glimmer Cape.
The extra 100 HP is not going to deter Fear from 3-shotting you. Like, Fear's going to be like, oh, it'll take me half an attack animation to kill you, but EG doing the right thing, surprise attacking near that top tower. There's no way for VG Gaming to respawn. We talked about it before. They don't have the disables to stop this split push, and EG feel really comfortable with continuing to do this in the game as AUI has finished that Octane core.
He has. It's a level 3 ultimate Song of the Siren. Every 45 seconds he can put VG to sleep. With the length of fights can draw out by having a hero like PL and Bristleback in there, potentially Naga Siren can not only initiate with the Song of the Siren, but can also control with the escape through the Song of the Siren if things go a little bit wrong. Over time, of course. Top lane, they're going to have a crack at Ice. Fear, wow, when he hits those crits, he hits hard. Ice continues to run away. That damage isn't enough to find the kill. He triggers off the Greaves.
And he got a little bit closer than I would have liked, though, and I think EG, though, continuing to be okay with the pace of this game is AUI taking that forward roll to another level as Universe is pretty much just transitioning into building complete utility as he allows this bottom half of the map to be taken entirely by AUI, and VG Gaming,
Owie, trouble. How and Fenrir going to find him. Song of the Siren instantly pops off. Can they bring support in time? Samal doesn't want any part of it, so Owie just TP's out. Well, Fear, you got to watch him in this mid. He knows what he wants, and he's going to get it as well. Ice. You can run north, but that damage is going to follow you to the ends of the earth. He'll die underneath this T2 tower, and they think maybe they can take out Fear. Support's there, but Universe actually blinks away into the tree line. PPD on the run out. Shallow Grave TP. There's no stuns again. You've taken out the Darkseer. There's only 2 control abilities. It's almost worth getting an Abyssal Blade on this Bristleback and PL, so at least they have something extra.
I think you need to at least get a Basher, and obviously if you go for the Basher, the Abyssal Blade will follow, and you have to have some sort of lockdown, because right now what's going on is guerrilla warfare, as EG just picks off one hero, gets out, and I mean, look at the impunity with which Fear's kind of just moving throughout their base. Like, he BKBs TPs after he gets one kill, hit and run tactics, and VG are hard pressed to stop him, as they don't really have any disable that can go through that BKB.
No, they don't. And you can't get the space to farm it up either, because everyone has to stick together, or else Fear's going to pick you off. Or moments like this, where you saw FY running up past his own tier 2 tower, one illusion from Owie came in. It did maybe 3 seconds worth of burn time onto him, and he did one Riptide. He was down to 2/3 of his life, and Fear was just hovering around hoping to find a quick pick.
And I think what they're doing right now, continuing to split push, but I think VG eventually have to force the issue. You don't want to be stuck in a game where you're letting a Naga get 6-slotted, because you'll never be able to push at that point. You have to go for the Roshan, eventually try to take the high ground, and that has to be the plan for VG at any moment, is the Roshan is up, and EG might actually they'll probably contest for this. Like, they have the Song of the Siren, you're on the Radiant side. It's a little bit more difficult on the Radiant side, but the Song of the Siren resets the fight so well, and it looks like VG, they are doing as I asked. They're making the move towards the Roche pit.
They're doing as I was looking for as well. That's that Abyssal Blade now over on the PL. Control factors are starting to arrive for VG Gaming, but at the same time, you're staring down the barrel of a Samael Scythe of Vice. He has that ultimate orb up and running, and still has another 1100 gold. Looks like Fear, Courier on the back line, so at the same time Disruptor's going to get nuked on the bottom by the Quap. Fear can't reach the Courier in mid.
I feel so bad for Fenrir. I was going to say he's been shell-shocked and conditioned into playing back, and he was by his tower waiting for creeps to come home and still gets killed. VG are going to trade his life for the Roshan, and I don't even know if it matters if he dies anymore. Like, what is their deal? Just let him get an item.
It doesn't mean anything. Sorry, no mercy shall be granted. But with this game right now, okay, so VG Gaming have themselves an Aegis and they have themselves a cheese. Hal took the Aegis, Super is the man who has the cheese, and maybe we find kill on PPD. Samel was trying to stop this with the song with the wave coming out. It's only a 30-second cooldown, so he's fine with that. And PPD again with the Shadow Grave TP out to safety. So how does VG Gaming win this? They're currently being pressured on all lanes. They have an Aegis. Can you even utilize it within the time allocated?
I mean, your cores are still really strong, and you've got a cheese on Bristleback. That's one of the best heroes, maybe top 3 to put a cheese on, along with something like a Storm Spirit.
But can you ever engage? You got Naga split pushing. You got Song of the Siren, Sonic Wave every 30 seconds. 30 seconds from Smail.
You're gonna have to you have to brute force it if you're VG Gaming, because right now
you're gonna lose out though. You're gonna lose a tier 3 tower if you do this.
Well, Toby, you can also just suffer a slow death and get all your tower taken away by a support, like AUI is doing right now, as he takes that bottom tier 2 tower. That's the last one in the game for EG to take, and if you're VG Gaming, you can't just let this stand though, Toby. You can't just allow them to continue to peck away your towers and get that push game going.
Oh, super trouble. Echo Flame on top. He just evaporates. Walked out a little bit too far. I was thinking with you, man. Maybe this rain, which is now falling on Commerce Bank Arena, could rain on EG's parade, but it's just not the case when something like that can happen. You don't even have time to get your cheese off.
Yeah, and Universe with that beautiful Echo Slam. He's got the level 3 ult readily available, and
he's got 3,800 gold as well on this ES. He can buy whatever he wants.
Yeah, there was actually no time for Super to pop that cheese. I just had split push. Really weird. I don't know why. It's things like that happen as your commentator when you get super excited about things that are happening, but this Naga Siren, I mean, I can't stop drooling over it right now as AY 0-0 and 5, completely avoiding the fights.
Actually getting a mana style as well. Like, you already think you're having enough trouble with split push as it is. To make the Radiance work, you always want to have something like a mana style in there. And that's what he's doing.
VG Gaming, again, I really think they need to make a response to him. Like, there's not any one item that's going to change the face of the game for them, I feel.
So if you're going to do that, though, like, you got to go down mid, like, almost right now. Like, you actually have to go now. You've already burnt through 2.5 minutes worth of this Aegis time. You have to go.
But all the lanes are pushing in right now for VG Gaming, and EG doing a good job of splitting out the entire map. Like, look at their positioning. Fear's near-ish to the mid lane in the jungle. AUI and Universe are setting up for each other at that bottom lane, and Sumail just continues to use that ultimate over and over again.
Fear, ice. That's a double damage rune up against you, and the damage with the crit. Not enough to finish the job. Ice still has those greaves available. But now with all the time that's gone on, you've now got a full sight device on Sumail. Oh,
it just gets more and more rough as
you can actually solo kill on multiple sides.
Yeah, that 30-second Sonic Wave with Sight Device just makes it so hard for anybody to stand their ground at that bottom lane.
They're about to kill Super Rigger. They are about to kill
dangerous.
Universe prepares with a Soul Ring. It's just an easy blink into Echo Slam, and there it is. So easy. Sonic Wave as well. Sumail's holding onto it. Kill secure. FY relocate out. Pulls him just an inch back. Glimmer capes him up too, so he can help survive. I'm surprised they waited so long to throw in all the nukes.
Yeah, they were actually facing his back, so they were trying to turn around, and so waited that half second, but
Universe back in again with the totem stuff. He waited for FY. How is in the middle of all of this, but he'll doppelganger up or actually down, chasing after Universe, and they're going to leave it a help. Is Sumail, but the Glimpse going to pull him back again in a moment. Universe with the totem stuff can control up Hal, but he's still going to die in the tree line. While Fear, well, the Vac won't stop him. He's covered by BKB. PPD also able to get out, so it's a 1-for-1 trade-off, ES for the Wisp. But Aoi is farming L lanes as well as the Dire Jungle currently as that Naga.
Yeah, he might actually sell that medallion pretty soon as PPD opts to get one for his own, and this Naga Siren is just doing Naga things, continuing not to fight anyone on the map, and Sumail just continues to push out lanes. Alright, there's the Aegis. I was going to fade anyways. I don't think Hal cared about that too much. Yeah, if anything, Hal's more concerned at the fact that there's no single item right now that is in a game change right now for VG Gaming. Like, that's what you have to worry about.
He's 500 away from the Abyssal. Maybe they could help him, but then he has to sacrifice buyback for it. They're coming. It's
gotta go right now.
all down mid lane. This is all that really counts now for VG. They know there is no other hope to win on this split push. It's just too strong, but at the same time, Aoi can just BT back. They give the momentum to the front lines, and Samael jumps forward, going after Ice, so he blinks himself away. Fear's still here, but where's just Todd? BT it back, Samael locked inside this storm. Fear is very low, but he's still going to survive the detection. Samael blinks away, 140 life. Aoi stops the fun. His Fear's up super. Universe Echo saved 1 second, it just came up cooldown. He can jump back in again if he wants to. They're also close up the big beef. My Ice protecting him for the moment. They haven't gotten up on high ground just yet. How is there? But the damage to the tower is negligible, especially for this point of the game. Universe got to get these PL illusions off him. He can't keep losing. Well, one, potentially matter, and two, having that blink on cooldown. But how Samal jumps out, Fear just pumping into him with the doppelganger up to the high ground, surging away. VG Gaming pulling out of the situation. Samal can't stop it. They will survive, and VG to fight another day.
But so much damage was done to that top tower, and once again, VG Gaming are completely repelled, and they might just have to wait for the next Roshan, but I'm questioning what's happening right now, because if they were going to opt to go for that, why not do that when you have both the Cheese and the Aegis available to yourself? There's no real item that you were waiting for anymore in that game that was going to really change your prospects, and now VG Gaming, they didn't really lose too much, and they did manage to take down that... No, they actually don't even take down that mid tower. They even lose their tier 3 at top, and AUI's illusions did all the work for them.
Again, how does Sphere get so lucky? He's got himself a DD.
He might not actually find somebody here, and so...
A Universe probably will. He's making a beeline for Hal. And he has a lot of illusions. Yeah, he's got Echo Slam, Ice behind it, the creep wave's arriving too. Now he actually sees him. The double stick, Echo Slam, follow up! Fenrir! It's just not his day! Hal will come in for revenge on PPT. Only 3 years to do it. He can move over to Universe as well, the Song of the Siren. Stops the fighting Fear with the DD run. He almost doubled his FY. The double tap. They can move back over to Super, but they have to get his back turn, or they can just hex it. That'll work, and Fear! Just carving apart the Chinese. The Wisp is the only sole survivor for VG Gaming, and they're about to lose some serious buildings.
The amount of fortuitous DD runes that he's found, and Fear going in after that Universe initiation, he immediately kills Fenrir, who's had such a rough game, 1-9-5. How often do we see this vaunted VG Gaming support combo do this poorly? Is this going to mean at minimum double racks as AUI sends the illusions to this bottom lane? All buybacks are up for VG Gaming, minus the Phantom Lancer.
They can't catch him though.
That matters.
Like, what are they going to do? If they're going to initiate in, Al's just going to turn the Song of the Siren, and they have to just reposition themselves again. And with the illusions pushing in through top, the middle lane pushing in heavily, the support will even stop this fight at maybe 3/4 life if they wanted to try and push it any further.
Yeah, and Fear just continues to farm out that bot lane. And, oh man, even a Shadow Blade completed on Universe right now. He's going for the max outplay items, and
he was actually he actually built that about 15 minutes ago and sold it in favor of having, I think it was the 4-staff he bought.
He thought of it again. He's like, no, this is the right item. Yeah. We're up 2 sets of racks.
It's like, what do I do? Well, at this point, I'm killing off all the supports. Why not just remove the passive of Bristleback? We don't even need the Hex from Samael in order to kill him off. Get that Silver Edge over on the ES.
And that's a fully 6, or actually, that's like a fake 6 slot on the EUI. Is he continues to just farm out the enemy jungle, and VG Gaming. This is what happened in their last encounter with EG, where the laning phase didn't go as strongly as they wanted to, and they just didn't draft enough disables to keep up with EG. And EG just progressively throughout the game decided to play more and more greedy, and it just looks like they don't really have an answer for the playstyle of EG.
There really isn't one. And EG is about, I think for the first time in this game, after what, 4 Roshans we've had?
They're going to get one. This is the one that matters.
They can finally take it. So it's now respawned up, so if they want to, they can just pop into the pit. But they got to keep their split push going. But I think Aoi's got that by himself on the top in the middle lane. Somehow can just keep Sonic Waving. Every 30 seconds, he's got himself a Sonic Wave. Like, what are you supposed to do against this? Even your Scythe device, it's just above 26.25 seconds. Every period of that time, you can go for the Hex.
And if you're VG Gaming, it just feels like your waves are completely obliterated almost immediately. Like, that's one Sonic Wave per wave of creeps that are coming out. And Sumail's going to get the Aegis himself, and if you thought he was hard to kill with a Shiva's Guard and 2600 HP, think again, because this might just mean the racks
and mega creeps for EG.
He's hard killed. Imagine how easy VG will be to kill once Fear picks up his last item. He's got 6k gold over on this Clinks. Already with Monkey King Bard, Daedalus, and Desolator, and it looks like he's going to finish with a full Butterfly as his final item.
You might as well right now. You're so far ahead, you don't have to save for the buyback, I think. As long as somebody on EG has a buyback, and they're not too over-eager, and you've got 6k on Sumail, there's enough on the Earthshaker at the same time.
I'm wrong. Here I was thinking it was the core picking up Butterfly. It's actually the support. It's Ali 2000 that finishes the full Butterfly.
He is the insurance policy right now for EG.
Ooh, insurance. It's a new Fear.
If anything went terribly wrong for EG, they've always got AUI with the amount of farm. Like, I don't even know how much this impacted things, but
He's the top net worth. He's actually the top net worth.
it's just
He's hit
AUI things.
1,000 net worth in 54 minutes. And it was a Butterfly as well for Clinks. Why not?
Yeah, and VG Gaming hold up in their bases. They just have to repel the creep waves, and EG, they've got everything they need. They've got the fully completed Butterfly on all their cores. Fear's going to pick up his own, and this is going to be a tall order for VG Gaming. They have to hold this last Rax without losing it. Giving up Mega Creeps, it's going to be so hard to hold. They've got the Phantom Lancer and the Bristleback, so it wouldn't be too bad, but it would mean just danger for your supports at all times.
Keep them alive and make them count. That's all VG Gaming can do. How to hold the top, still better hold the mid, and keep everyone else in the bot lane. Protect the last set of racks. I don't think EG is really under any kind of pressure to win this game right now. They're in such a commanding position that VG actually doesn't have a way out of it unless EG overcommit. And that means like coming underneath tier 4 towers without finishing off the racks and losing off your critical heroes before they can do anything.
And Toby, for me, this is a really disciplined EG. Before, you might see them go for something a little bit too risky, like we saw at MLG when they went all in, they didn't have buybacks, they got picked off by London Conspiracy, and that was the end. But this game, they're being so patient about it. They're saying, we're going to push in all the lanes, make absolute sure that this is the push that ends the game.
Owie with the Song of the Siren. He just wants to isolate the heroes. They can bring down the towns, but the fortification already triggered. Remember, he's got this back off cooldown, and basically now 37 seconds from now. So you go for the chip, you try and force out some abilities, and you'll just go again. Bit by bit, you're right, it's fully disciplined. They're ready to go, and it's difficult to control.
Yeah, and VG Gaming, the thing is that usually when you have the high ground advantage, Toby, you have vision at all times of where your enemies are, and the enemies don't really know where you are, but with creeps pushing in at all times on the sides, you kind of reveal your positioning, and VG don't even have that advantage anymore.
Well, you think like you maybe can smoke out, loop in behind them, catch them out of position when they've really got their pants down. But yeah, in this situation, man, everything is exposed.
If anybody from VG Gaming don't defend like the mid or top lane and the creeps are just hitting the towers, EG have to know. They're like, oh, they're smoked up. Let's just wait 45 seconds. Like, we've got full command of this game. There's actually no reason to throw it away, but EG Gaming with complete control, just building up such a bank on all the heroes. And look at the net worth.
That didn't take long. That didn't take long at all. They just took it down. Super Hexed up Visual as well. Echo Slam arrives and a reload game. It pulls Super out in time of Fear. He is just disintegrating VG. You cannot repel firepower of this magnitude. They have ripped through the bottom base. And it looks like EG are about to secure their first victory here. As FY also going to... Now goes for one last hurrah. Doppelgangering down. He needs more of himself at the moment. But even then, Owie, no matter. Fear, he kept alive by the Shallow Grave. How can he even kill him? Come on, Super's back to more living. They don't lose anything. It is a full team wide in favor of EG, and good game well played. It will go to the Americans in game 1 of their best of 3.
And what a dominant performance, top to bottom. Perfect team play. They knew how they were going to split push. Nobody got picked off from EG throughout that entire game. I think at one point it was 14-10, and the game ends 28-12. So absolute beautiful performance by Evil Geniuses as they